Conca Bowen. What advice would you give to a new racer? 1 year. I wonder if that's new rider or new racer. I'll take it literally here. New racer, 1 year, who had quick success in beginner class, but lost a ton of confidence and rides scared after a bad crash. Oh, the magic question. Confidence did one of these and then had one good get off, and then confidence did and does one of these. First of all, know that is extremely common, and that's common with any age. Ugh. Guys, by the way, this podcast clip is sponsored by Element. Go to drinklmnt.com/AJCat330. I'm talking, if you guys want an electrolyte mix that tastes amazing and that is actually healthy for you, I put this in my water 100% of the day. Yes, I do a light mix, so I don't go too crazy with it, but I never drink regular water. I travel with these elements. I put them in my water before I go to bed, put them in there before I wake up. Got a pack in there right now. I mean, I feel hydrated all the time. It's awesome. So try it out. What was the question? This is common. I get this from, 50cc parents of kids that hadn't really even crashed before. So it was their first crash ever, and they were super confident. They were making a lot of progress. They had the one crash, and it kind of scares them. Sometimes it scares them away from the sport altogether. Then you have, the teenage version of that, maybe, where they're making quick progress, but usually in that situation, sometimes it's a string of crashes where they might not even get hurt badly, but it's like 2 or 3 times kind of right in a row. And then it makes them start second guessing a lot of stuff. And then a lot of times at class as well, I just have the vet riders, or just, this could be anybody, but somebody that was riding for fun and really felt good on the bike. And then they just had one big crash on a jump, broke their leg. And ever since, they don't have confidence with the jumping. Usually the major issue with any of those examples is that the person hasn't been able to figure out the root of the problem. So I do this with any type of fear, anxiety, stress. If you ask yourself a couple of introspective questions to reflect, you can pretty quickly get to the root of whatever your fear is. I teach people this in real time when we're doing jump work at class. I'll ask a couple of okay, well, what are you afraid of? Okay, I'm afraid of landing sideways. Okay, fair enough. If you're afraid of landing sideways, what are some things you could do to prevent that? And what is your likelihood of landing sideways on this jump? What can you do to prevent that? Well, I can take the outside line before the jump. I can get into a nice tall gear so I'm not revved out, and I just get nice and straight and make sure that doesn't happen. Okay, great. So why is the getting sideways thing a fear at that point? It's just sort of like an irrational fear that's just floating in the ether. That's not necessarily even the greatest example, but you could compound that with every other excuse or fear. And then when you start asking the whys, or the whys, you can pretty quickly figure out, oh, all right, well, there's nothing I'm really afraid of with this jump. Hey guys, before we get back to the video, Moto Academy is doing a world tour in 2024, and we're releasing dates every single week. So head over to themotoacademy.com if you want to train with myself and the Moto Academy. If you didn't see a location near you last time you were on the website, pop over to themotoacademy.com again, because like I said, we're posting new dates multiple times a week, every single week, and we're going all over the world. Themotoacademy.com, go check it out. Back to the video. So, all right, I'm just going to do it. And I'm going to do it with this game plan. And this game plan is what's going to make it so that I am not fearful. If you go to jump something and you have no game plan, then of course you're fearful, because there's no rhyme or reason as to what's going on. And I think some people do that. But if you approach a jump and you have thought about everything, the approach, the takeoff, the midair, When you land, what's after the landing? If you overshoot it, what happens? If you case it, what happens? These are all things that I run through in my head. So when I do jump something, there's no surprises, and it makes it so it's not scary. Also, is helpful to do that in a bigger picture, larger scale, with not just one specific jump, but just your riding as a whole. If you're generalizing that, like this person, for example, what advice would you give to a new racer 1 year who had quick success in the beginner class but lost a ton of confidence and rides scared after a bad crash? So now what Conca Bowen has done is taken one bad crash and kind of created a huge blanket generalization of, okay, well, now I'm just afraid of what? Of all of it? Because that doesn't seem very, very rational. I mean, you can do everything in a calculated way. So as long as you have that mindset of, I'm not going to just wing it anymore. I'm not going to just guess what I should be doing, which Conca Bowen, you've made the first step. You're inside the Moto Academy app. You don't have to be guessing anymore. You can ask me. You can watch the content. You should be able to get a really good idea what you should be doing. And that will create complete confidence. And the confidence comes from not just blind ignorance. It comes from knowledge. And once you create the knowledge in all of these categories and a real true game plan, it's not scary. What's scary, there's a few things that are scary to me sometimes with dirt bike riding. It's the racing when you're around a lot of people can be scary because you can't control what the other people are going to do. And sometimes some scary situations arise that have nothing to do with you, and then you're just caught up in it. That to me is scary. The start is kind of included in that, because everybody's right there on top of you. It's very little is under your control, and you're sort of everybody else is kind of controlling what's going on, which I don't like that. But that's it. Everything else doesn't really scare me because I'm able to just kind of talk myself through that fear. So hopefully that makes sense. Don't know if that was too philosophical for you, or hopefully it was logical enough and it was simple enough. That's at least how I think. If you guys enjoyed this podcast clip and you want to listen to full episodes, make sure you go download them on Spotify and Apple Music. If you want to watch full episodes or be a person that sends in your own video submission, go to club.themotoacademy.com and subscribe to join the Moto Academy family today.